Good afternoon, BNI members in the Midlands. Today, I'm delivering a bite size on the exciting topic of traffic lights, but more importantly, how can we aspire to get to 100 points and get into the green? A common question we all have. So today, in true BNI tradition, got a 9-point agenda to go through, and by the end of it, we'll have that understanding. But it gets quite lonely doing these things, so please do pop comments in the chat. Let me know that you're there, and we can pop those on and answer any questions that might come up. So what does a top performing BNI member look like? Well, as you can hopefully see on the screen, if it's big enough on your phone or wherever you're joining us today, it's about several things. And it's kind of having that mindset of always looking for opportunity for your fellow BNI members. That's what it looks like. So yes, we're inviting visitors. We're looking to sponsor in new members. We're looking for those referrals. We're building the relationships. So it's about taking all those things and moving them forward. And we get recognition for that. We get 100-point pens. We get gold club badges. So think about that. That's that extra level of recognition that you'll be able to get within BNI. So thank you very much. Hi, good afternoon. Good to see a few people commenting already. So if we go and have a look at our traffic lights. So I've rearranged slightly here in order of the number of points that are available. And what you'll see there is you've got testimonials, you've got one-to-one, CEUs, attendance, and then we start to get to, I think, the more difficult, in my opinion, in some ways, you know, the thank you for the business, the referrals, the visitors. So what we want to do is focus on what can we do to at least get in the green, if not getting to 100 points. Now, what you'll notice is those first 4 areas will kind of give you those building blocks, and that at least gets you 45 points into the red, and then it's kind of working on the other stuff. What does it consist of? Well, first of all, doing that testimonial every 6 months, having the regular one-to-ones with the members, doing the BNI training. So we've got business builder, we've got regional and national training. You're watching this now. This could be a CEU. We have training available almost every day that you could be dropping on. We've got podcasts that you can consume. Always fill your seat at the weekly meeting, whether it's you, someone else. Go through some techniques on that very briefly, and then get thanked for £7,500 every 6 months. So your goal is that £15,000 a year. Pass the referrals, bring a visitor a fortnight. So if we're looking at 100 points, that would mean 2 testimonials a year, 1 one-to-one a week, 1 CEU a week, 1 meeting a week, £15,000 a year, thank you for the business, 5 referrals a month, and 1 visitor a fortnight. Now, if we break each of those down, first of all, testimonials, fantastic way to help the credibility of your fellow members. So what does a good testimonial look like? Well, first of all, determine what the story is that you want to tell. The best testimonials are stories, a bit like when we're doing our weekly presentations. What problem was solved? You know, how did that fellow member help you? And keep it short and simple. A long testimonial is something that doesn't actually grab the attention. So try and make it short and punchy, something that they can use it on their social media and all those platforms today. And it can be as simple as saying something nice about an experience with another member's business. So for new members, it's sometimes thinking, okay, I haven't actually done business with somebody yet, but have I tested out their service? Have I been to their premises? You know, does it look reputable, and would I be willing to put in a testimonial? So again, easy 5 points, and a great way of giving something to someone else in your chapter, or if you're in the region and you've used someone else's business, have a word with the vice president in that chapter, get it read out at their chapter. You can still get the points. So one-to-ones, again, really important. So we have the gain system for having a quality one-to-one. So that's always something to focus on. You know, what are your goals? What accomplishments do you have? What interests do you have? What networks can you offer? And what skills? use that framework in your one-to-ones to build, first of all, the trust. I don't know about you, but I tend to only want to recommend people I know and trust. So hence those one-to-ones allow that opportunity to get to know each other. Then it's about the knowledge. We may think we know what our fellow members do, but often it's the one-to-ones where we really start to take that understanding to the next level. There may be changes in the business, maybe covering a new area, stopping a product, starting a new one. And it's only often through those one-to-ones that we get to understand what's happening in people's lives and businesses. And really important, cross-chapter. If you're part of a group and your seat is blocked out in other groups, that doesn't mean you can't interact with members across the region by having those cross-chapter one-to-ones. So again, one-to-one a week. Newer members, you might try and do more, and if you're active within BNI, you may do more again, but have quality one-to-ones where you're genuinely understanding about each other's businesses. CEUs, as we now call them, because we all love acronyms, chapter education units. Now, they're a great way of getting those training credits for the traffic lights, but also you're in serious danger of learning something that you might be able to apply in your own business and your own life. So yeah, we have presentations that you can watch. We've got BNI Business Builder, programs that you can take, BNI Lives as they're referred to, actual training, live training. We've got our MSP now back to an in-person one at our regional BNI office starting next month. If you want to book onto that, go onto the BNI regional website, BNI Birmingham, Warwickshire, whichever one you're in, and you can book onto that. Priority for new members at the moment. And podcasts, great way of 10 minutes a day, listening to a short podcast that can get you that one CEU a week to really kind of take you through. Or listening to our bite size on Facebook, grab your CEU that way. So then we come to what's sometimes called absenteeism. I like to think of it as attendance, focus on the positive rather than the negative, but it's so important that we are there, because again, these are the easiest points that in many ways that you'll get on traffic lights, making sure your seat, your business is represented at the meeting every week. So who have you got as a substitute, either someone you know, or what methods can you do? Now, interestingly enough, I wanted to share with you very briefly a survey that was done of BNI members, asking them, who would you like your fellow members to see as a substitute to the weekly meeting? And the top one was someone who could join BNI. So obviously you can only get credit as a visitor or a sub in terms of the traffic lights, but thinking about if you could bring someone that could join the chapter, takes your seat for the week, if you're an in-person group, the breakfast is paid for, and they're going to have a great time. So think about that as someone that you could ask to act as a substitute for you. They're doing you a favor, you're doing them a favor. A great client for members, again, sending some, maybe one of your clients or a relative could be a great opportunity to put them in front of your fellow members and create opportunity. Customer, supplier, relative friend, business partner or staff member, again, they're the most able to represent you truly with your business, with your seat, and anyone with a heartbeat. And then we have members from another chapter. Interesting, given how often the first port of call is going on the Facebook group and asking for a sub there. Super subs, people that are never going to join BNI, but are always happy to sub. And then you've got ex-members, people that have already left, but are happy to come back. So interesting when you look at it as in that order. Who do you want as a member in a chapter, a fellow member to send as a sub? So I found this really powerful. Claire did a great session on substitutes a few weeks back. But think about your weeks out sub, your days before, your night before, and the on the morning sub. Because they're going to be different people that you can go on to fill your seat. So think, that last minute emergency, it's not someone else's problem, it's your problem. Who would you go to? And again, it's very much like we preach in BNI. If you go on the Facebook group and ask, could anybody sub for me? You might get somebody. But if you go to one individual and say, would you be able to sub for me? You're more likely to get a positive result. So halfway through the traffic lights, the easiest 45, you do all of those, that gets you 45 points on the traffic lights. So you're still in the red, but one could say we haven't really done anything. We haven't created any business for anyone else. We haven't received any business. We haven't really taken our forward. We've just been to meetings, had some one-to-ones and learned a bit. So why do we all join BNI? Well, it's for the referrals. So there's two areas when a lot of members or prospective members that I talk to will say, oh, I'm really not sure I'd be able to find referrals. So let's focus on a few ways where all of us could potentially find referrals. So first of all, there's being proactive. Now, specifics, if your chapters, a number of chapters are really hot on specifics, others less so. But the reason that we're specific is it's often an easy way for us to help each other. Because if we're specific, we can reach out to that person on social media or see who we know, might know them, that could set up that introduction. So being specific is a great way. You know, if you come to Green Club, you get the opportunity to put your specific on, but then you get a spreadsheet with everybody else's specific on. So not just in your chapter, in the wider region. Great way of creating a proactive referral. Spending money, just pull out your bank statement, see, you know, who you're spending money with, and think, is there someone in BNI that I could be spending that with, whether that's for you personally, for your business, or people that you know. Then we've got our reactive. So that's where, yeah, we want to start with something like planning. So, you know, if there's a wedding, a house move, a holiday, these could be a great start to opening up a relationship where people are genuinely interested in having those recommendations. So listen out for people that are planning. You know, that could be introductions to all sorts of people, estate agents, photographers, whoever. Then we've got the bragging. You know, someone's won the lottery, introduction to the financial planner, the travel agent. Yeah, maybe they've got some money to invest, properties, that kind of thing. So have a look for those opportunities. Complaining. Whilst we don't want to focus on that, but that's often a great introduction for a referral, where someone's saying, I've just broken my MacBook. Yeah, I'm in Max, let's send you over. And yeah, maybe someone's in trouble with a legal situation. Great, let me introduce you to a solicitor. Or I don't have enough time to do what I need to do. Great, that's a referral to a VA, for example. So listen out for those reactive referrals that you can find. Now, another thing is to remember, we have 5 levels of referrals that you can pass within BNI. Now, the first 3 and then the 4 or 5, I see as a little bit different. If you think about those first 3, really, there's no necessarily obvious business being passed there. When you get to the 4 or 5, there's a good chance of there being some business. So, you know, a level 1, level 2, that could just be connecting somebody. You know, I think it'd be useful for you two to have a conversation. You could do business. You could be a strategic partner for each other. Level 3, you know, I'm helping, I'm facilitating, setting up a meeting. Level 4, this guy needs a quote. So a lot warmer, you know, they're genuinely looking to buy. You can service what they're doing. And level 5, you know, I'm sitting in the meeting with you. This is definitely going to happen. I've warmed them up. They definitely want to buy what you're doing. So when you look at those 5 scales of it, there really is an easy opportunity for all of us to find, you know, level 1 referrals. Yes, we don't want to pass confetti around the group of, you know, if I have a level 1 referral, I still expect if I pick up the phone to them, that they're going to say, Glenn, I was expecting your call and I'm interested in talking to you about what I do and what you do. Don't just, you know, pass random people on Facebook or anything, but equally the conversion is the job of the member. You know, creating the referrals is just identifying opportunities for each other. So referrals, again, you know, we're looking for the basically 2 a week to hit the 100 points, but just to get in the green, if you're doing 1 a week, always think, what referral am I bringing to this week's meeting? Now, visitors, again, a lot of the points are geared towards visitors. And I was talking to someone this morning and saying, I think they're almost the easiest part of new activity, particularly for a new member. But just to refresh, why do we put so much priority on members? Well, first of all, it's more connections. The more people in the room, the more people know and the more people they know. It creates a better atmosphere. It's always more lively when we have a decent amount of visitors. We're all excited to go to this week. We've got 8-9 visitors. Awesome. Professional meetings as well. I think there's a danger sometimes, we become overly familiar with each other, and by having visitors in the room, it makes us still be professional and remember why we're having those weekly meetings. Bring more business. A third of business through BNI actually comes from visitors. Fascinating statistic. So just bringing people in the room who will potentially never join BNI is still a great contribution to the group, because they might need a printer, they might need an accountant. It's a greater opportunity to pass business. They're usually in the room because we don't have someone in that group doing what they do. So it could be a good opportunity to meet someone of quality. And the longer term growth, success and sustainability of the chapter. Ultimately, with any group, people will naturally leave for perfectly natural personal and business reasons. So we need to constantly be filling the funnel of members coming through. And the larger the chapter, the easier it is to find referrals for each other. Helps our power team. It may not just be someone that's relevant to anybody in the chapter, but could be strategic. Get the right people in the room. And of course, the traffic light recognition, which is that they're eligible, so they could be joining, haven't been in the last 6 months. Subs are not visitors, so saying it's really good to bring a visitor as your sub if you're not going to be there, but obviously you can't have points for that. And other BNI members are not visitors. Again, it's really good to, particularly in our region, that we're all joined together and get to know each other. But yeah, they don't count as referrals. So I think of 3 buckets of visitors very briefly. First of all, there's the people you know. They're the people in your phone book that you can speak to. You know them and you see them at the school gate, whatever it might be. Then you've got the people you vaguely, maybe you went to school with them years ago, maybe you connected with them on LinkedIn. I've got a ridiculous number of connections, so I don't know where that conversation would go. And then we've got the people that we don't know. So when people are inviting visitors, I always say, think of the first bucket first. Who do you know, particularly when you've just joined BNI? And then, yes, we can all go after the people on social media, but that's a lot harder. So visitor inviting, I did a bite size on a few weeks ago, so I'll pop the link in the chat to kind of go into more detail, because conscious of time today. But then we've got our thank you for the business. So quick way that you can check what's going on if members using the system in the way it's been intended, which was updated in the last year or two. If you go into your Connect app, look at your referrals, you'll see colors there. So we can all update our fellow members on the referrals that we've received. So if we've got a gray one like there, we can go in, we can say, yes, we've got the business, pass some comments on, put the amount in, and it comes in as thank you for the business. Now, we can't actually see that unless the member sends a screenshot to say, oh, thanks, I've just logged the thank you for the business. But it can be a quick way of checking, oh, I haven't seen whether they've won the business, not been able to get in touch with them, etc. So keep on top of your thank you for the business. Make sure you are getting the recognition that you look for. But very finally, it's a little bit rear view mirror tracking in BNI often, in that if you go to bnitrafficlights.co.uk, great website, it will tell you what your points were last month, over the last 6 months, where you missed out on points. So if you haven't used that website, just go on. If you're not sure your password, just use the forgot password link. But I find the personal palms report on Connect is the most useful, but, and here's the critical bit, focus on the 5 months plus. So we're just coming up to the end of June. So I would be running a personal palms report for the 1st of January to the 30th of June to see what my traffic lights are going to be at the end of this month if nothing else changes. Big advantage for our new members, you're averaged over a shorter time. If you're only 1 month into BNI, all these numbers, you only need to achieve that average in a shorter space of time. So it's a good bonus, and one that also, if you keep up the right level of activity, it will keep you going through your BNI membership. So that was the bite size. I haven't seen any questions coming in. A few good comments. Thank you guys for joining us. Power of one to think of: 1 meeting a week, 1 one-to-one a week, 1 CEU every week, 1 referral a week, and 1 visitor a fortnight. That gets you to 100 points, assuming you get the thank you for the business. But if you're doing that level of activity, you should be getting that translating into the business. So thank you very much. have a good afternoon.